What's happening, guys? Martin is back again. Welcome back to Lifestyle Journey. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing about social proof and how to create it. Now, you could ask yourself, what is social proof? Social proof, from my perspective, is ultimately where let's say you're in a scenario of a group scenario, and it's kind of like you're already vouched for. Like, people respond to you in a different type of way. People see you in a different type of way, and people seem to interact with you in a different type of way. And when I say different type of way, it's not necessarily that you're someone who's particularly special. It's just that everyone seems a bit more relaxed around you. People will come to talk to you without necessarily saying anything at all, or you not necessarily saying anything. And equally, you can kind of talk to different people and nobody seems fazed. Everyone seems to know who you are. So this is not necessarily a new concept, but I think it's important depending on what your strategy is and what you're trying to do. So social proof is something that you kind of need to already be, let's say, established to some extent. You may not necessarily be a celebrity. I mean, celebrities can easily walk somewhere, let's say, I don't know, let's say Brad Pitt walks into a room, everyone just knows who he is straight away. Brad Pitt internationally, doesn't matter where he is. So he's gonna have social proof straight away. But for the guy out there who's not necessarily known in that way, not necessarily, how could I say, aware even of what this happens to be, this is a quick video for you. And what I would be saying as well is something needs to be, how could I say, reflective in you that they see in themselves. So for you, whether you're a funny guy, not necessarily that you have to make an attempt to try and speak to everybody, but if I go to a bar where nobody knows me, depending on how I want to play it, by the end of the night, I can make it so people know who I am. Or there's a place I go to quite frequently, so when I do go in there, people straight away, they're touching me. You could be speaking to a girl that you don't know, and she doesn't necessarily know you necessarily in the same time of where you are and what you're up to in your life, but at the same time, you met her that night. And while you're talking to this girl, someone comes and taps you on the shoulder. Hey, you're not seen you for a while, like that. Another girl comes by and says hello. A guy comes over and daps you down and then moves on. So to create these type of scenarios, you have to have added some benefit to these other people's lives in some way, shape or form. Now, this could be involved in sports. This could be involved in, I don't know, maybe something online. This could be involved in many different ways. But what you're looking to do, if you do want to create social proof, you have to provide some value to somebody else for them to recognize something within you and say, this is a good guy. I won't pass him without saying hello. And once you kind of get this little bubble or work out what works in that way for you, then from there you can start to build this in other places. So if I go somewhere now where I don't necessarily have any social proof, I don't know anyone necessarily, just going into a venue, depending on who's on the door, I'll say hello, I'll ask them just some random questions like, you know, is it busy tonight? Or, you know, are you guys working like super late? Do you finish super late? Not necessarily in a creepy way, guys, so just be careful with that one. But at the same time, you're just trying to create some interaction. So when it comes to a point where, let's say now, maybe when you're leaving, hopefully you said something that person remembers who you are and says, oh, did you have a good night? Or they'll go beyond just the basic type of discussion that they'd have with other people who are coming into the club or whatever it may be. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a club, it could be a coffee shop, it could be whatever else like that. But one thing that, a benefit of social proof, and one thing I want to say, keeping my videos under 5 minutes, is that ultimately you're now putting yourself in a scenario that, again, as I say, you kind of vouch for already. So whoever you just met now, or whoever you've brought to this scenario or this space that you're in, already starting to pick up on, wow, people seem to understand who this guy is, or people seem to know who this is. And I guarantee, guys, that will make a difference as well when you later on, maybe you want to go somewhere else with this person, you kind of already vouched for a certain point. You're already known within a certain space. And if everyone who's giving you, let's say, positive energy when they see you in that space, that also says something as well. So guys, social proof is a thing that I think if you can, and you're in those scenarios, and again, think about football teams, think about sports teams, coffee shops, somewhere you go to frequently where you can get to know people. Then if you go on a date, you could take the person there to that date, depending on what you want to do. Social proof is something that you can help you, again, maneuver through this dating world. So think about that, guys. Leave comments down below, and I'll see you next video. Peace.